So, what is the Palmenhaus scandal and why is it a really interesting story that everyone in Europe and around the world actually better should know? And more, why is it so censored? We are living in an age where the misuse of justice and the weaponization of justice is being turned on the people. For example, how many people were jailed for the January 6 hoax in 2020? And what was mainstream media lying to the people about all of this? And exactly the same crimes they did in the Palmenhaus case, where they got completely exposed by doing this in 2022.
And then all hell broke loose yesterday. And now even Thomas Massey's seen the documents. I know the congressional stuff. I know the DOJ inside baseball. The DOJ, under pressure from Kash Patel and others, and Pam Bondi, is holding off on this. People are giving Ed Martin the credit. He's like, don't give me the credit. But I can tell you, he officially has been looking at this. They knew this a long time ago. We knew this. A Capitol Police officer with another group connected to Pelosi, who's actually CIA, that's confirmed, with the fake pipe bombs and all that, they were planning a false flag against Kamala Harris, who they had to go to an office building where this bomb got planted outside. We knew this right when it happened 4.5, 5 years ago, but now it's come out. Thomas Massey, America's waking up today to learn that Capitol Police turned CIA orchestrated. This is Thomas Massey, one of the most trusted people in America. The pipe bomb, again, America is waking up today to learn the Capitol Police turned CIA orchestrated the pipe bombs on January 6th, and the FBI has covered it up for over 4 years. I questioned FBI Director Wray, ATF Director Daddlebach, and FBI Assistant Director. And now they're questioning, why has Kash Patel sat on this for 10 months? They know all this. They have the geolocation off of her cell phone. Private groups were able to get it. They claimed it was corrupted. They couldn't, but they proved it. They also got the cameras, ran it through the programs that do the biometric gate. And now she's at the CIA. This is so huge. And Pelosi, when this news broke, literally started to break. She was basically resigned. So all hell's breaking loose. We have that. Maduro says he's ready to exit if Trump provides amnesty. Putin on standby with military aid, threatening to deliver hypersonic missiles. This is totally insane. We're in day 38 of the shutdown.
Now, it's difficult to say whether it's true or not true, but in the Palmenhaus case, there are a lot of evidence which point to very high-going corruption in the European justice system and maybe even higher. So since COVID, we are all supposed to obey every rule and stupid law that our politicians pull out of their asses without any questioning. And let's just go a little bit deeper into who are these people really, like the World Economic Forum and the people for who they are working. Now, I didn't vote for these people, and I thought we had a justice system to catch criminals. But in 2022, I accidentally discovered a human trafficking, sex extortion ring, something like Epstein. I didn't know at that time what was Epstein or what was the entire scandal, but I quickly found out. Now, I never went public with my findings, I only went to police, and these people had my entire life destroyed. But let's start with a video of Candace Owens explaining a little bit what is going on.
That pedophiles are in power.
Yes.
They're literally in power. And that is intentional because then they can be controlled while they are in power. And they are also exhibiting signs of a psychopathology that lets them know that they will do harm to the masses and feel nothing because they were themselves, many of them, raped when they were children.
Yep.
It is not a coincidence that Justin Trudeau is gay. Obama, gay. Zelensky, gay. Emmanuel Macron, gay and married to a trans man who molested him when he was a child. And that despite the overwhelming evidence, for me, the litmus test now is like Brigitte Macron. I'm like, if you want to figure out who is a fraud in media, there's no way to read that 6-part series and go through it and come out of it being like, no, totally legit. Like these are just rumors. It's like one picture of yourself in your first 30 years of living, please. And they
show me her brother.
Where's your brother?
Where is he? I'll show you my brother.
Yeah.
Where's your brother?
Yeah.
It's actually.
So again, in short, what did I discover in 2022? That there was a human trafficking ring that was trafficking even minor girls from Eastern Europe to Austria and other countries and using them in brothels for sick, satanic-style sex parties to extort a large number of Austrian people. And this was going quickly into very high elites in Austria.
There's something wrong in our parliament when I'm attacking a Labour MP who I believe is a paedophile and I'm getting flack from my own party. There's something wrong.
How many of the MPs would you say in Parliament do you think would be of that?
I've no idea. I've no idea, but we certainly had a bad record round here. I'm thinking about in Leicester. I mean, Jana. I mean, paedophilia it's been rampant in Leicester. I've passed details of people who are engaged in child trafficking into the UK. Names of all those. They've gone to the government. Nobody wants to act. Nobody wants to act about it.
How big is this?
It's big.
How many?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
How are they getting them in? Or is that?
I don't. They're flying them into small airports that haven't got fences around them. Lots of them in the UK.
Yeah, lots of small airfields.
Yeah.
You have a little biplane.
I gave the government the names of the people and the name of the company they're laundering the money through, where the children were being taken to have their photographs taken. They thought they were going to go to school. These were for selling them to paedophiles. Nothing. No, it's gone to MI5. It's gone to the National Crime Agency. No one will act. And then when you see the names, you see why.
The names.
The names of people. They are known names.
And so they're taking these children to who knows where, and they're doing who knows what to them.
Well, I'm told that they use them in the sex trade for about 3 years, and then they're worn out, and then they organ harvest them.
And the MP goes, I've been with the MI6 and the MI5. They won't do anything, of course, because their boss is the ones doing it. And he says that too. I mean, imagine kidnapping people's 5-year-olds and then raping them for 3 years and then selling them to the people that want to kill a kid. They even recycle the money. And then they tell them you're only allowed to strangle them or stab them to death and only do the neck, because then they harvest the organs. They got a team there to do that right after the guy kills the kid.
Now, as I said, I didn't have any intention of going public with all this information. I just went to the police in 3 different countries in Europe asking that these people would leave me and my family alone. Now, of course, this didn't happen. And after I went to the police, these criminals, they started threatening me that the police wasn't going to help me. Strangely enough, they even started threatening me that I was going to be abducted by the help of crooked Austrian judges who were protecting their organization. Now, these people were involved with drug trafficking, human trafficking, forced prostitution, even with minor girls, and satanic sex extortion parties. All of this was very well documented and handed in to police. And these were even recordings where these criminals all admitted this themselves, where they even were bragging about this. In the meanwhile, they were also bragging to blow up my house with hand grenades if I didn't withdraw my testimonies. And, like I said they were protected by crooked Austrian judges.
So you will come to Hungary? If you guys leave me alone and you want to be friends, I come tomorrow. I want to come to Hungary. I love Hungary, I swear. But will you come to Hungary? If you guys don't kill me, yes. Daddy, I'm scared of this, sorry. I come to police in 2022 for help, and what happened, the police tried to kill me.
Now, the police was laughing with this at this time when I went to make my complaints. Even when I handed them the evidence, they were laughing. Such corruption in Europe wasn't possible. Until 3 weeks after, me, having nothing to do in my life with Austria, was being arrested in Hungary during my holiday with an Austrian arrest warrant That was very suspicious. And since 2022, after they arrested me and put me a few months in a dungeon without a lawyer and violating all my human rights, destroying my life on television with a whole bunch of lies, all proven, I am asking investigation into why these judges were doing this. So just that everybody understand what this all started about, was that I was being acquitted by lack of evidence of false rape charges, which I didn't agree to because I wanted a full pardon for this ridiculous and monstrous thing that the Austrian government did to me and my family. I wanted my name to be completely cleared and I wanted a pardon for what they had done. This they refuse, although all the evidence clearly proves my case. Now, for some reason, nobody in Europe wants to investigate this. But like I said, this girl, because I knew one of the girls victim there, she sent a lot of evidence of what was going on there in Austria. Now I started to investigate the tapes and all the recordings that she sent myself a little bit, and it's very clear why they didn't want to investigate this, because it goes really quickly, really high, like I said. They were extorting a large number of people in Austria, and it was leading up all the way to the second most powerful man in Austria, Christian Pilnacek, one of the supreme judges that mysteriously died in the afterspam of this crisis, but also they couldn't deny all the crimes they had committed in trying to make me disappear. And then I didn't even mention the 3 witnesses which also mysteriously passed away after this case. First of all, Gerard. He was a witness to my first testimonies in Austria, as you can see in the papers. Ilona, my neighbor, who allegedly committed suicide and was found in her water put. And third, Zoltic, who was also a witness and dating also another girl from the palmenhaus case. All 3 mysteriously died in not even 3 years following the palmenhaus case. All coincidence, of course. Together with Supreme Judge Christian Pilnacek and his wife Carol, who destroyed the evidence after his death and was covering up the crime. This had led that I have written my books, The Austrian Criminal System and the Palmenhaus Scandal 2022, trying to ask attention to investigate this case, and also for my own security, because these people aren't finished. They are still trying to take me out and silence me, which of course I am not going to do, but because of my book, they will be very famous when they ever succeed.
If you're caught up in being Russell Brand or Alex Jones, or insert your name here, and that's all you should insert, don't insert anything else, not a finger, not a banana, nothing naughty, nothing cheeky. If you are worshipping yourself, then Satan has you. When you surrender to Christ, then you become his operative, his agent here. Of course we know the price of this. Alex Jones has long known it. It may cost you your life. You have to be willing up to the point that you will be sacrificed for what you believe in. And the reason that you've had the career that you have, and I know there's been hard points, I know that what you went through with Sandy Hook, I know that you've gone through these court cases, I know you've gone through people hating you and damning you and judging you, is because I think all of us know that if you had to die for this, you'll die for this. We can feel it. And that's the attribute.
Well, it's true. It's not about me, but the total commitment is what they fear, because they know I don't fear them because I've committed to this. It's exactly right, Russell. They know because I don't care, just like you've been persecuted. It's passing point. It's like in V for Vendetta, where he puts her in the dungeon like he was. It goes through the same process. She says, go ahead and kill me. He goes, now you're free.
And as you can see, also the Epstein case, which is very similar with this case, is also very suppressed here in Europe.
This is not about politics. And this is a boiling point in American history where the American people, just like Roe just said, there's become 2 Americas. There's the America for the rich and the powerful and the elite, where they never face any struggles or problems and never experience what real America goes through. And then there's forgotten America that faces all the problems and deals with all the issues and never gets justice for being sexually assaulted and raped by a monster. It shouldn't exist anymore, and people are sick of it.
And you can also listen to Alex Jones in several of his documentaries explaining what the hell is going on and how the intel agencies are running all of this.
And we've got known, this woman and a known drug cartel that worships a female version of the Grim Reaper. We tracked her for weeks down at the Texas border years ago, and she would just deliver kids, 3 or 4 a day. She'd say, yes, it's my baby. The woman would say, fine, no paperwork, 1-year-old baby, gone. We shot the footage you're seeing right here. You've seen me jump in front of vehicles full of 4 little kids being put in a trunk. The cops come and threaten to arrest me if I don't stop. And I wasn't trying to act cool. I had to do it. And then we all felt like sacks of crap that we let them run off with the kids. Then the next day, we got undercover police in there from another jurisdiction. She's the female deputy police chief, like a 60-year-old Hispanic woman. She comes out crying. She goes, there's a man from Pennsylvania. He's demanding little girls. They're going to give him little girls, and then he's going to put them in a van, and he says that he's going to show them the way of the Lord. We're like, we believe her. She's crying, and the son of a bitch walks out. He's on camera and starts saying it to us. We're gonna, and like, we all went back to hotel. We couldn't do anything. We all felt like sacks of shit. In fact, I've never felt worse in my life than my dozen or so trips down there at the end with Obama and then under Biden. It took years off my life. The Democrats and the globalists are working with Cuba, Venezuela, and Mexico. That's why Pelosi calls the drug cartels God's children. Through their law firms, their NGOs for human trafficking, drug dealing, election fraud. Again, we first broke this when Obama was in the last few years, and then it stopped for 4 years under Trump, and then came back with Biden with a vengeance.
Robert David Steele aus Amerika. Sagte, dass Pädophilie fester Bestandteil der unlegitimierten Machtelite sei. Nach Steele dient die Teilnahme an Missbrauch von Kindern und oft auch an deren Opferung als eine Art Aufnahmebedingung und Ritual in die höheren Kreise der Macht. Die aufgezeichneten Schandtaten dienen dabei als Erpressungsmaterial. Wir gehen wieder zurück nach Holland. Das ist Toos Palmenhaus. Sie wurde nach ihren Aussagen in einer Familie hineingeboren, die satanisch-rituellen Missbrauch ausübte. Toos sei an ihren Genitalien mit Stromschlägen gefoltert worden und musste mit ansehen, wie Anhänger der Satanssekte sich an Toten vergingen. Nach ihren Aussagen veranstalteten die Satansdiener Treibjagden, bei denen Toos und andere Kinder unter Todesangst mit Hunden durch dunkle Wälder gejagt werden.
Wenn es ihr ultimatives Ziel ist, berühmt zu werden, werden sie viel tun, um dieses Ziel zu erreichen. Zum Beispiel ihren Namen mit Blut auf einen Vertrag mit dem Teufel unterzeichnen.
Danke an Satan, dass er mir Inspiration gegeben hat, wie ich diese Rolle spielen soll.
your children will join us.
We're coming for your children. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children.
So I wonder how much of you people know that you are paying taxes to people who think they can abduct your children and use them in their sick sex games to extort each other and to push all these stupid rules and laws to put, I guess, Agenda 21 into play.
Vandaag is hier in de Tweede Kamer iets gebeurd dat zo onvoorstelbaar is dat ik het nog steeds aan het verwerken ben. Er kwam een motie van mij in stemming voor een onafhankelijk onderzoek naar georganiseerd sadistisch misbruik. En de reden voor die motie is dat de commissie Hendricks, die eerder onderzoek heeft verricht naar dit vreselijke fenomeen, onder de totale controle stond van het ministerie van Justitie en de kern van de zaak in de doofpot heeft gestopt. En als je nu geen idee hebt waar ik het over heb, dan raad ik je aan om een van mijn eerdere debatten terug te kijken waarin ik dit allemaal uitvoerig heb gemotiveerd, maar dat voert voor nu allemaal wat te ver. Het komt er kort gezegd op neer dat ik al jarenlang pleit voor een onafhankelijk onderzoek. En in eerste instantie steunde alleen de PVV mij hierin. En daarom heb ik op voorhand even gecheckt of wij nog steeds op de steun van de PVV kunnen rekenen. En dat bleek gelukkig het geval te zijn. Andere partijen waren tot voor kort over het algemeen tegen mijn voorstellen, omdat ze het onderwerp wegwuifden als complottheorie of omdat ze de bezwaren van de slachtoffers tegen de commissie Hendricks onvoldoende serieus namen. Maar doordat ik hier al jarenlang aandacht voor vraag, leek inmiddels ook bij de andere partijen het besef door te dringen dat die kritiek op de commissie Hendricks wel degelijk terecht is en een onafhankelijk onderzoek absoluut noodzakelijk is. Tijdens het debat kreeg ik al de toezegging van het CDA dat ze mijn motie zouden steunen. En nadat ik de afgelopen tijd ook met andere partijen uitvoerig in gesprek ben geweest, kreeg ik vandaag op de valreep ook de toezegging van NSC, ChristenUnie, SGP, SP, BBB en JA21 dat ze voor mijn motie zouden stemmen. En inclusief de steun van de PVV die al had toegezegd, zou mijn motie dus een meerderheid gaan halen. Dat waar ik al zo lang voor strijd, een onafhankelijk onderzoek, leek nu echt werkelijkheid te gaan worden. Fantastisch nieuws, vooral voor de slachtoffers. Toen ik vanmiddag de plenaire zaal inkwam en aan het wachten was tot de stemmingen zouden beginnen, was ik nog wat aan het praten met een aantal Kamerleden van de PVV die naast ons zitten, waarbij ze nog eens bevestigden dat ze inderdaad voor mijn motie zouden stemmen. Zo stond het ook ingevuld op hun stemmingslijsten. Maar toen, terwijl de stemmingen al waren begonnen en nadat duidelijk was geworden dat mijn motie het zou gaan halen, ontstond er in één keer onrust in het vak van de PVV. Vanaf de voorste bankjes, door Geert Wilders persoonlijk, werd in één keer de instructie gegeven aan alle andere Kamerleden van de PVV om toch tegen mijn motie te stemmen. Die andere PVV'ers die reageerden heel onthutst. Wat is hier in één keer aan de hand? Waarom moeten we nou in één keer tegenstemmen? Maar ze leken geen andere keuze te hebben dan de instructie van Geert Wilders op te volgen. En daarom heeft mijn motie het uiteindelijk toch niet gehaald. Wat ik hier interessant aan vind, is dat de PVV steun voor mijn motie had toegezegd toen het erop leek dat hij het niet zou gaan halen. Maar nadat duidelijk werd dat mijn motie het wel zou gaan halen, die steun om onduidelijke redenen weer introk. We blijven dus achter met de fundamentele vraag: waarom wil Geert Wilders hoogstpersoonlijk, koste wat kost, voorkomen dat er een onafhankelijk onderzoek plaatsvindt naar georganiseerd sadistisch misbruik? Na de stemmingen zijn Thierry en ik nog naar hem toegelopen om opheldering te vragen, maar hij wilde niet reageren. Dus ik zou zeggen, stuur hem een mail of benader hem via social media om deze vraag te stellen. In de hoop dat hij richting de kiezer wel verantwoording wil afleggen voor deze cruciale fout. En roep hem vooral ook op om bij een volgende gelegenheid wel voor een onafhankelijk onderzoek te stemmen. Want ik zal de strijd voor de waarheid onverminderd hard blijven voortzetten. Omdat we nooit mogen accepteren dat in ons land georganiseerde netwerken actief zijn die op de meest gruwelijke wijze kinderen verkrachten en martelen en daarmee wegkomen omdat duistere krachten en machten de beerput gesloten willen houden. Een paar jaar geleden op een congres van de jongeren van D66 een motie werd aangenomen om pedofilie te normaliseren. Het is te walgelijk voor woorden en Forum voor Democratie zal nooit accepteren dat pedofilie wordt aangemerkt als een gerespecteerde identiteit.
Because the further you dig, you always come to people connected to the World Economic Forum or the Bilderberg Group, which is very suspicious, I guess, or not. And if you try to ask investigation to this or you have any questions, then you have a fate like President Trump being indicted with a lot of ridiculous charges, Russell Brand, Julian Assange, and many more.
From the private server that Mrs. Clinton used while she was Secretary of State. Why is this one laptop now so significant?
Anthony Weiner's laptop were ever released, the government would fall. Weiner's laptop had kill switches in it.
It was seized from Weiner as part of an investigation into whether he sent sexually charged emails to a teenage minor. The laptop hadn't previously come up in the Clinton email probe.
Did he know that you were only 15 years old?
Yes, he did.
Her age was no deterrent for Carlos Danger. In an exclusive interview with Inside Edition, this minor says she first sent disgraced Queens Congressman Anthony Weiner a message on Twitter back in January 2016, when she was just 15 years old.
I just sent him a nice message, just, hello, I'm a huge fan.
She says she wanted to see if he was up to his old antics during last year's presidential election. Turned out he was.
I knew that it was going downhill and really fast.
She says the messages from the Democrat quickly turned obscene.
I was disgusted. That's part of the reason that I came forward.
At the time, Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin, was helping run Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. The FBI's investigation of Weiner's laptop led to the discovery of a new batch of emails that Clinton had sent Abedin. That led former FBI Director James Comey to reopen the investigation into Clinton's use of a private email server while Secretary of State, just days before the presidential election.
Inside Edition says it's withholding the girl's name because she's underage, but her father gave permission for her face to be shown. Weiner went on to plead guilty to a charge of transferring obscene material to a minor.
Just striking about this is that, announcement from James Comey in October of 2016, kind of saying that the investigation was being reopened here. Some people say that cost Hillary Clinton the election itself. But when we look at that incident and, not with all this other information we have, what jumps out to you about that?
That was Comey trying to cover Comey because they knew they hadn't done what they should have done with the Weiner laptop, and the New York Police Department officers who were honest were going to disclose all that. He just simply had to do it to try to save his own skin.
Because of Weinergate and the sexting scandal, the NYPD started investigating it. Through a subpoena, through a warrant, they searched his laptop and sure enough found those 650,000 emails. They found way more stuff than just the more information pertaining to the inappropriate sexting the guy was doing.
675,000 Clinton emails when they got Anthony Weiner's laptop in a search warrant because of all his sex perversion issues. It was all the Clinton emails, the Clinton Foundation, her Secretary of State emails, Huma Abedin's emails. Lots of people emailed Huma as a proxy for Hillary.
They found State Department emails. They found a lot of other really damning criminal information, including money laundering, including the fact that Hillary went to this sex island with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton went there more than 20 times. Hillary Clinton went there at least 6 times. The amount of garbage that they found in these emails of criminal activity by Hillary, by her immediate circle, and even by other Democratic members of Congress was so disgusting. They gave it to the FBI, and they said, we're going to go public with this if you don't reopen the investigation, you don't do the right thing with timely indictments.
We're not talking about 1 or 2 emails. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of emails.
NYPD was the first one to look at that laptop.
I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up. It's bad.
Somebody sent it to me. I would not advise you to have a look at it. She and her spokeswoman, they put a 5-year-old girl naked on a table, bind it, and then with a scalpel they start to remove the face.
Oh my God.
And you hear this child screaming, and they take off the face, and Hillary Clinton puts it on her face and goes to the child. And you see, the child is all flesh, and then the eyes pour out, and this child sees her own face on the face of Clinton. I will never forget that image, and never the scream. That's how evil these people are.
Supposedly 9 cops watched the videos on Weiner's laptop. They had to keep leaving the room because they couldn't stand what they were seeing. And all 9 are now dead. And there's names and faces and deadness, right? They're real people. Now you can say, well, maybe they died for other reasons. I go, but it's still 9 cops.
There were a total of 12 individuals who saw Anthony Weiner's laptop computer. 9 of those 12 people are dead now.
Some sad news tonight. Another New York City police officer has taken his life. The second NYPD suicide in 2 days.
Well, Corey Tampson, with the latest suicide, the 8th this year, the 6th just in the last 2 months alone.
Another New York Police Department officer has died by suicide, becoming the 9th to do so this year. According to a law enforcement official, the 56-year-old officer was off duty and at home. On Tuesday, another law enforcement official told CNN that an 8th officer had died by suicide. A 35-year-old
Robert Echeverria died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound at home last night. The 25-year veteran officer's suicide came a little more than 24 hours after a 35-year-old officer took his own life. Commissioner James O'Neill is still struggling with the news.
You think that, okay, this is going to be the last one, and last night I got a phone call, and it just almost knocked me down.
Or worse, like Virginia Giuffre, who they literally silenced indefinitely.
Joining us now is Andrew Eborn, barrister, broadcaster and president of Octopus TV. Andrew Eborn, it's wonderful to see you again.
It's always wonderful to see you, Gabriella.
And what bombshell royal news we had over the weekend that Prince Andrew has now relinquished the Duke of York title following scandal after scandal and, of course, the ongoing fallout from his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein and the release of Virginia Giuffre's memoir. Now, Prince Andrew has, of course, denied all allegations against him, but let's just look at what's been detailed in Virginia Giuffre's memoir. There are, of course, more allegations of abuse, revelations about her encounters with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and it also goes into how Virginia Giuffre really wanted accountability, Andrew.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the biggest theme of this. She wants accountability. 367 pages in total, and it's a gut punch of a memoir. And if she saves one person from silence, then she should be crowned the real queen. That's what she wanted. And she details all sorts of things. She talks about how she first met Ghislaine Maxwell when she was working at Mar-a-Lago as a towel girl, just being paid a few dollars an hour. And basically, Ghislaine said, look, I could offer you a job as a masseuse. Come with me. And she was then introduced to Epstein, and Epstein was naked, apparently, and she said, look, just copy what I do. And she was then abused in that sort of situation. She then also details about the first time that she apparently met Prince Andrew, something Andrew denies, but it was in March 2021. She was woken up and told, today is your lucky day, today you're going to be Cinderella. You're going to meet a charming prince. Well, charming prince.
The fate what many of us awaits. But still, we ain't gonna shut up. And we are going to keep asking investigation. Waking up more and more people every day, exposing these people for who they really were. And you have to know, my case, they can hardly explain. Because like I said, I never wanted to go public with this. In 2022, we only asked investigation into this case why these judges had done this, with a lot of evidence, as you can see in my other videos. Me and my family, we were targeted by the most vicious tactics which they were trying to silence us. And this all started in 2022 with asking to clear my name of ridiculous rape charges which were proven untrue, because even the victim admitted everything was light under pressure of her pimps. Now she declared this even to government agencies, and still Austria is refusing to drop these charges, claiming they let me go with a lack of evidence, so they can keep continuing their crooked game with other indictments and saying I have previous charges. And I don't like to be called something like this, because I was myself a victim of such a perp when I was a child. Now, I want my name cleared, and I want all the damage to my family repaired, or all these people will go with me down to hell. And trust me, the videos which I got, and which are a lot of copies of, which they can clearly see, will make the entire justice system famous there in Austria. Now the question is, if they are so crooked, why are other justice departments in Europe working together with them? And what are all the ties of these justice departments to the World Economic Forum? Because I thought they all had the purpose of catching criminals, which is clearly not their work anymore these days. Now here you can hear Representative Massey from the United States together with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene asking to release the Epstein files, another case also censored.
I want to thank my colleague Ro Khanna for co-leading this effort to bring transparency and justice for these victims. I hope my colleagues are watching this press conference. I want them to think, what if this was your sister? What if this was your daughter? When these survivors speak, the Washington establishment is asking the American public to believe something that is not believable. They're asking you to believe that two individuals created hundreds of victims and they acted alone, and that the DOJ has no idea of who else might have been involved, that nobody else did anything that rose to a criminal enterprise. The American people know that's not true. Now, the Speaker of the House just offered a fig leaf to my colleagues. They're going to vote on a non-binding resolution today that does absolutely nothing. I appreciate the efforts of my colleague James Comer, who's leading the Oversight Committee. They may find some information, but they're allowing the DOJ to curate all of the information that the DOJ is giving them. If you've looked at the pages they've released so far, they're heavily redacted. Some pages are entirely redacted. And 97% of this is already in the public domain. So I'm calling on my colleagues, be one of the next two who sponsors this discharge petition. I think it's shameful that this has been called a hoax. Hopefully today we can clear that up. This is not a hoax. This is real. There are real survivors. There are real victims to this criminal enterprise. And the perpetrators are being protected because they're rich and powerful and political donors to the establishment here in Washington, D.C.
And of course this brings us to the reason why these cases are censored, because they know they fucked with the wrong guy in the palmenhaus scandal. Everything got well documented. They have a copy of it. They tried to make me disappear, but the plenty copies remained. And as I promised on 15 October to the judge who was crookedly putting me in prison while I was begging to let me out of this crooked mess, he is going to face justice for his crimes. Now on 15 October they still could say it was an accident, but they also know that everything what happened after 15 October exposes how they were all involved in it. Now I want the tape from this hearing, and we will see what comes out of it. I have here the transcripts of this trial, And you can also see 2 days later how the judge was lying about an Austrian investigation into these pedophile brothels, because it wasn't one brothel, and the entire network that I just exposed a month earlier. And all the evidence with this case also cleared my name. But for some reason, the Austrian judges had me, a Belgian national, abducted, violated all my human rights, and tried to put me in a dungeon and make me disappear for 15 years. Now I hope they have a really good explanation for this, because the one that I have, they will not want to hear. It leads all the way up to the most powerful people in Austria, with very interesting evidence to prove my case. And especially when the Austrian Justice Department of Graz are trying to make all my claims from 2022 sound ridiculous, while in 2023 the Supreme Judge of this court, Caroline, the wife of Christian Pilnacek, the judge who mysteriously got murdered after he was complaining that he didn't want to cover up more the sick crimes of one wolf. And this was all recorded together with the governor of organizing sex extortion parties, which of course the Palmenhaus case was one of. And of course they can all claim that these are conspiracy theories, but they know that the evidence of the Palmenhaus case proves that it isn't. And also the 1024 other cases which Kaya TV has a very interesting documentary over, which you can see here. Now, I wonder if they are going to talk with my lawyers and make sure that this is going to be investigated, or will we have to do it publicly, not knowing what will be the consequences to the entire justice system. Because this corruption runs really high. And I think some people seriously have to get arrested and go to jail for this. Or are we all continuing to pay taxes to pedophiles?
The government fears Alex Jones, who has the largest audience in the country, bigger than any of the networks, the biggest megaphone in the country.
The deep state hates Alex Jones with a vengeance.
Alex Jones is the most extraordinary person I've ever met.
I'm just sick of these people.